The Castleford Tigers will head home with their tails between their legs.
What a disappointing night for Wakefield. They are in a huge hole at the moment.
The defence was so poor.
They've got to come up with points.
All good teams are built on defence.
Not many points coming out of West Yorkshire this evening.
That's poor defence from Wakefield Trinity.
They look a little bit nervous, to be honest.
Well, it's been a sorry season start so far for both Castleford and Wakefield, but they have poured down Weldon Road in their thousands tonight to bring life to this antiquated yet atmospheric rugby league ground in Castleford. The trip home for both sets of supporters will be short, most likely sweet for just one. Well, the 2023 edition of Super League's rival round is upon us. The Tigers and Trinity will kick it all off tonight in West Yorkshire as they meet in a match that may have a huge bearing on the race to avoid relegation. Well, two changes to the Tiger side that lost narrowly in France. Niall Evalds returns after missing the last four through injury. He will go straight into the fullback role, pushing Greg Eden onto the wing. And Mahi Fanua from wing to centre. Lewis Johnson, the lone signing from Hull KR, comes onto the bench in place of Albert Vette, who has joined Featherstone, also on loan. Well, loan signings have also been used by Trinity coach Mark Applegarth to bolster his squad, currently propping up the table. The latest of those is Nathan Mason, who has come from Huddersfield. Wakefield fans will be buoyed by the returns of Sam Hewitt, Rena Fatoni, hooker Liam Hood, and former New Zealand international Kevin Proctor. It certainly looks a much stronger side on paper than the one that went down 38-0 at St Helens in the last round. Well, Applegarth will need the very best of Mason Lino tonight as he goes up against his former halfback partner at Trinity, Jacob Miller. Now in separate camps, neither have been able to fire attacks that have returned a paltry match average of 11 and 6 points. The Tigers heavy favourites to win this one. When one looks, though, at the returning troops for Wakefield, might they be primed to upset those odds? Well, let's take you around the crowd here at the Mendahose Jungle. Castleford Tigers fans, John Wells, have they seen enough in performances this season to convince them that they can get over the top of Wakefield tonight?
Well, I think they will always believe, and I think there is enough quality in that Castleford Tigers side. The likes of Joe Westerman need to fire. Niall Evalds, we've already spoken about his ability, and then Jacob Miller needs to find a bit of rhythm in attack as well. I think if they do that, they've got every chance.
Yeah, for me, Wakefield just need to work hard on them effort areas, the transitions. They need to run hard, kick well, chase well, and make Castleford keep tackling. It's a really easy game plan for me. The more work Castleford have to do, the weaker they get, and I think Wakefield can pinch it back end of the game.
All right, let's take you into the change rooms here at the Mendahose Jungle. Final words from the coaches, both Mark Applegarth and Andy Last. Will it be effort areas? Will it be desire? Will it be grit and determination?
It'll be all of the above, and it will be, effort areas can be defined as those actions that you make as a team that don't immediately result in reward for you, but they build over time. The support runs, JJB, the kick pressure.
Yep, that support run, it might be support run number 8, where the offload comes and you push through and create the opportunity, that field position to execute a play and get the board rolling forward. But for me, looking around that Wakefield changing room, having Kevin Proctor back, having Liam Hood back, I think that'll make a big difference.
Okay, well, the sides are ready to open up rivals round. Fasten your seatbelts, folks. West Yorkshire will shortly shake as Wakefield Trinity and the Tigers square off here on Sky Sports.
And they are in, and it's Barimo in again. And they're in on the other side with Beretta. Barimo. Lawler trying to go on his own and does so. Lino, and they've got Kershaw in, and Kershaw will get another try for Wakefield. He offloads it to Hood, and the try is awarded. Lovely try from Matty Ashurst. That's how you do it.
Well, here they come, Wakefield and Castleford. It is only round 8, but standing pitchside here at the Mendahose Jungle, John Wells and Jamie Jones-Buchanan, it feels big, it feels special, it feels like a pressure game.
Absolutely, it really, really does, and there's an expectant crowd here. The home fans dominate, they expect to win for the Castleford Tigers, so do I.
Jamie Jones.
I flip round. I think it's an easy game plan for Wakefield. I think they take him to the wire, and it's do or die for Wakefield tonight. I'm going to back them to do it.
And resurrect their season if they do it. It'll be witnessed by our commentary team tonight. Let's go to them now. It's Terry O'Connor, and good evening to Bill Arthur.
It is the first of 7 live games in 4 days here on Sky Sports as an Easter feast of rugby league action begins with this showdown between the bottom 2 in the Super League competition. Never mind rivals round, this could be survival round for these two. It's still early in the season, but if bottom of the table Wakefield are to get off the mark, then this game presents their best chance so far. Terry O'Connor, discuss.
Yeah, you've got to make games like this personal, haven't you? I think both sides not been doing well in the league. Obviously, you play against your local side, and you just want to get out there and you want to perform. The last time we saw Cass, when they took on Leeds Rhinos here, they got the result that they were after. They got really stuck into them for the full 80 minutes. Wakefield, well, you missed 4 tackles and all of a sudden you could be 24 points behind on the scoreboard. You've got to make sure you're physical, you've got to make sure that you ramp up, you get into your game plan and settle into this game ASAP.
Referee tonight, Marcus Griffiths, gets us underway at the Menderhose Jungle, which has withstood a fair amount of rain this afternoon, but the clouds have cleared away for the moment. A bit dark over in the distance, could be in for some more rain, but conditions not bad at the moment. The Castleford Tigers, first touch of the ball for them, going into this game with just 1 win to their name this season, but they went very close last time out against the Catalan Dragons, did Castleford. It needed a try from old boy Mike McMeekin, in fact, for the Dragons to secure victory in that game. So Castleford will take a lot from that match going into this contest against a Wakefield side still looking for their first points of the season. Played 7, lost all 7. 5th tackle, and Jacob Miller gets the first greeting from the Wakefield fans who used to cheer him. Now he's in Castleford Tigers colours.
Well, that's not a bad opening set, is it, for Cass? They've got more or less 95 metres. With that, they got to the kick. They're looking at doing a job here defensively and make a statement early on against Wakefield.
Well, Wakefield's, despite their troubles this season, coming into this game with a bit more confidence by virtue of the fact they've got players back and they've got a few new recruits coming in, like Nathan Mason out there on loan, making his debut. Kevin Proctor back on the bench. It's going to boost them a bit.
Yeah, it certainly will, but I think that the issue for Wakefield is the attack and the creativity that they've got. They've been nilled in 4 of the 7 games.
That's a monster kick from Mason Lino, but Greg Eden is underneath that. Full-back in the last 3, but Eden back on the wing for the Castleford Tigers this evening. Now then, here goes Jacob Miller, made 200 appearances in the colours of Wakefield over 8 seasons. Did Miller. Jordan Turner. Just shy of the halfway line of the Castleford Tigers. Westerman. Suia Matangi starting this one, his 9th start in 3 seasons at the Castleford Tigers. So used to seeing him come off the bench, but Andy Last giving him a run in the starting ranks. Now then, a little step from Broadbent. Broadbent looking for some support. He's got it from Mellor. And Mellor is brought down just short of the line. That's the 5th tackle. Broadbent caused Catalan Dragons problems last week. McShane gets the first try of the night on the back of that brilliant break from Jack Broadbent. It's McShane who strikes for his first try of the season. Wakefield's defence in disarray. And McShane, such a seasoned campaigner, is the man to capitalise on a situation like that, as exactly what he did.
Yeah, well, Paul McShane, one of the shrewdest hookers around, isn't he? Cass wanted that quick start, they got it. It was quite direct the way that they played the game, just nice, solid. Jack Broadbent, like you said, Bill, he was outstanding last week, come up with a 90-metre effort against Catalan. Was quality. Paul McShane, well, he's just scanning either side of the rut. He's having a little look what's in front of him. The bit of dummy uses, I think it's Massey as a foil, and Hewitt, well, he just can't come up with the tackle, the perfect tackle that was needed on Paul McShane.
And it's McShane who'll look to improve on his own try. He kicked 3 goals, or he has done this season. And that's his 4th. Kicked 3 against Catalan last week.
Well, you've just got to make sure you get that attacking shape right. You can see that Paul McShane, he uses Massey. A couple of the Wakefield defenders have got eyes for him. Hewitt has switched off at marker. Couldn't stop the former Man of Steel winner from getting over for the opening try, and after just, what was it, just under 3 minutes they scored the opener. That'll be really disappointing for Mark Applegarth.
And it's given the Tigers and their supporters a big lift. They like that run from Suai Amatangi. It's interesting to see Jack Broadbent's contribution already. I was speaking to Andy last ahead of this game, and he said Broadbent was outstanding against Catalan, set up 2 of their tries. Yeah. And he could be a long-term answer.
Yeah, well, it's on the back of strong runs like that from Matanga, and he's not a natural half-back. He plays full-back, he plays centre. So when Jack Broadbent gets hold of the ball, he'll take on the line. He's a runner, and that's certainly what he's done over the last couple of weeks.
No, Gareth Widdop again here this evening for the Castleford Tigers, taken ill during the trip to Perpignan and still shaking off the bug he picked up as Miller hoists the kick. Now then, Will Dagger is underneath it, positions himself well to gather that ball, making his 2nd appearance. Will Dagger since the swap move with Corey Hall, taking Hall to Hull Kingston Rovers.
Well, he did well, and that's another good kick, isn't it? Just drops before the try line. Wakefield under some pressure. They've got some real intent the way they're defending in this game.
Will Dagger's claim to fame already this season, the first 18th man to be used in a game. That was against the Catalan Dragons last month after 3 head injuries for the Wakefield side. Oh, then the error. The ball's knocked on, says the referee at Wakefield. Will turn over possession.
Well, that's it. You've got to make sure that you do end your sets well, and you can see that the ball goes straight over the top of Jai Whitbread. The pass from Liam Hood just wasn't good enough. And Mark Applegarth on the sideline, the Wakefield coach, will be disappointed with the opening 6 minutes. Conceded a try, making mistakes, can't get the ball far enough away from the try line.
Mark Applegarth, former head of youth, great experience in the development side of the game, and now succeeding Willie poaching and trying to steer Wakefield away from the bottom of the table, but he has got an almighty task on his hands, as have his side at the moment as they are defending. As Nathan Massey, starting at prop again, drives the ball up to the 10-metre line. Westerman simple on to Miller. The ball is loose, and it's still loose, and it's gone backwards. No, it hasn't, says referee Marcus Griffiths. It was knocked on.
A lot celebrating by the Wakefield players. Joe Westerman, the ball just over the top of Jacob Miller. He can't control it. Then Jai Whitbread, just desperate to get onto the ball before the referee says, no, that was a knock-on. They just can't put themselves under pressure there. They need to get through this set of 6, Wakefield, get to the kick, even if they have to kick into corners and defend strongly.
Here is Samisoni Langi. Catalan Dragons getting an awful lot of mentions this evening. A former Catalan player, Langi, now in the colours of Wakefield. Eventually had one move to Wakefield that didn't go through a few years ago. Mason Lino. Here is Reece Lynn. Bags of experience with Reece Lynn, over 200 Super League appearances for Trinity. Kershaw. Weaving run from him. Whitbread up to that Castleford 40-metre line. Here is Mason, and Mason trying to offload it.
Bill, they go the wrong side. I think it's Liam Hood that gets out from dummy half. It was a really good run from Mason. Quick play of the ball. He gets down quick. Mason is the man who makes the mistake, but the previous time he played the ball, he gets down quick. They go the right-hand side, and unfortunately come up with the error here.
He's trying to force the pass there, Nathan Mason. Heads in, guys.
Making his 150th career appearance this evening on his debut for Wakefield. Been joined on loan from Huddersfield. So, Beretta Faraimo as Castleford work the ball up to their own 40-metre line. Here is Mellor. And Wakefield, having conceded that early try, looking to stop Castleford building up a head of steam here. Tangi plays the ball. Here is Joe Westerman. Westerman flicker the ball to Mellor. Nice hands onto Broadbent. Just inside Wakefield's 40 now as the former Leeds man plays the ball. Westerman once more drives the ball in. The kick high from Miller towards Kershaw's wing. He's safe underneath that.
Well, it's good pressure, isn't it? And again, from this cast side, that line speed, it's giving Riesling nowhere to go on the second tackle. A few metres from the line, does well to take that ball, Kershaw, but he knows as soon as he gets it, there's cast players waiting to effect the tackle. And obviously, Castleford, the way that they've started this game, there's a lot of focus on the defence, a lot of focus on the go forward and keeping it simple.
Liam Hood. Good scampering run from him. Set restart signalled. So can Wakefield build on the back of that? Morgan Smith appealing for the referee as that play the ball seemed to take forever. Here is Nathan Mason once more. Just shy of that Tigers 40. Morgan Smith, on it goes to Mason Lino. Lino hesitates and then gets the pass away. Lino, you can see him organising operations. There he is now, just drops the ball off to Jai Whitbread. In his second season with Trinity, his first was pretty impressive. Morgan Smith, a little darting run from him. Closest Wakefield have been to that Castleford Tigers try line now. What can they make of this? Jay Pitts, on it comes to Lino. Lino, Will Dagger. Dagger, Samisoni, Langy, and Senior couldn't take the pass. It was just behind him.
Is there a touch by Beretta Faraimo, though? They look to create the numbers out wide. And I think Beretta Faraimo, as he's jamming in, he's getting caught out. Yeah, he just touches that ball as it's going to Senior. You see Langy passes the ball. It's knocked out play. Another set of 6 here. Wakefield have.
That was promising for Wakefield, though. In his Senior, 1 try to his name. Probably thought there was another on the way there until Faraimo put his hand in the way. Here is Nathan Mason driving his way to the line and denied by McShane.
I always think they're dangerous players. You look at the size of Mason and Paul McShane. It's a mismatch, but he kept him up.
Pitts, his Whitbread will give him more of the same medicine. He's another solid figure in the Wakefield front row. Hood. Lino, short ball to Ashurst. Ashurst right on his shoulder. Mahe Fanua with the tackle. Hood. Here's Lino. Back comes Whitbread towards the middle of the field. Bang under those posts. And 4 tackles gone this set. Castleford Tigers on their own try line. Hood going for it. Ashurst is brought down. More good work from Mahe Fanua in the tackle to drive Ashurst back. 5th tackle it is. What's Lino going to come up with? Shape to kick. They're going to run it. And Morgan Smith is going to try his hardest to get to the line. But he is denied at the last. And Castleford applaud the defence.
Yeah, that's great defence from Castleford, isn't it? Working together. Mason Lino in that whole set was desperate to get his hands on the ball. And Smith, well, just denied by strong defence from Cass. As you can see, look, he shapes the kick. Smith just pumps that ball, but solid defence from Castleford.
But an encouraging phase of play for Wakefield, their best so far this evening.
You know, any team that's got Mason Lino in their side needs to be this end of the field. He's an attacking player.
Faraimo flung that ball backwards and Evans couldn't take it. And Jordan Turner furious.
Well, you look at Jacob Miller as well, the way that he reacted. Look, he ran hard, he earned the right to get his arm free, but maybe when you're bottom of the table, you don't do that. 20 metres from your line. It's a tough ball to take, especially at that speed.
It wasn't a soft pass,
no,
was it?
the weight of the pass was far too much.
Well, they're inviting Wakefield into their territory now with the Castleford Tigers. There was the knock-on from Faraimo. There's the wild pass, and Wakefield have got possession once again. Just outside the 20. Hoods, Morgan Smith, here's Mason Lino. Will Dagger ducking under the challenges. They're trying to get him over the line. They will do. That's good defence, and Dagger could not stop the momentum.
Well, two big plays in defence. The 9 levels one that was holding Smith up, and then this play here, working from the inside. Mahe Fanua just gets hold of Dagger long enough before Beretta Faraimo comes in along with Alex Mellor and just drags him over the sideline. And that's it. You celebrate defence like you celebrate good attack.
And Beretta Faraimo redeeming himself there, I'm sure.
Well, you know as a player when you've let yourself down or you've let your teammates down and you've forced an error. And like you said, Beretta Faraimo joined in, celebrated that effort.
Wakefield desperate to put an end to this 7-game losing start to the season. Their worst of the Super League era, worse than the 6-defeat start they endured in 2021. And of course, so much hanging on this season with the structure of the game, the shape of the game changing. And clubs very much conscious of their need to survive and be ready for the new environment.
Yeah.
That look forward from Shane to Massey.
Yeah, a lot of sides are nervous, aren't they? And this Wakefield side, like I said, you looked at them last week, and John Wells said before the game that it was just maybe the last pass, the last catch, because they got through Saints a number of times, but just couldn't quite finish it off. And that was a team that really looks like they've not got any confidence when they're making 17 errors and missing 42 tackles in a game. Those stats aren't good enough for 80 minutes.
Well, we've got the two lowest scorers in Super League on show this evening. Castleford 12 tries, Wakefield 7. But we've got one try on the board so far. It's been scored by the Castleford Tigers. Is this a 40-20? Across comes Niall Evalds to gather that ball and deny Wakefield that opportunity.
Do you know, it's a nice play though by Will Dagger. He spots some space at the back, spots the field, goes for it, doesn't come off, but still turns Cass around, kicks him into the corner, and now it's what can they do? What can they achieve with this defensive structure?
Here's Greg Eden now. By rights, this should be a 10-6 game. Castleford are averaging 10 points a game, Wakefield 6. We've got 6-0 at the moment. The try from McShane, the goal from McShane early on. Here is Jordan Turner.
Well, he gets a penalty. Jordan Turner, is it for the high shot from a Tony?
Is that his first involvement? Renew for Tony, just off the bench.
That's where the arm ends up. That's where the referee Marcus Griffiths give it. Not much in it, to be fair, but again, it's one of them where you've got to be clinical, you've got to be disciplined. A tackle like that now gives Castleford 30-40 metres.
Yeah, they've spent a lot of time in the last maybe 10 minutes down at their own end of the field of the Castleford Tigers, so that has released the hold Wakefield had on them. And just 2 balls on the pitch, so the referee Marcus Griffiths just calls a halt for a moment before Westerman plays the ball. McShane. Here is Matangi. Renew for Tony, gets a hold of him. McShane, here is Miller, short ball from Miller to Massey. Three tackles gone. Castleford Tigers looking to hit Wakefield again. Here is Suia Matangi. 4th tackle. Front of those posts, maybe about 5 metres away. McShane's short pass. Westerman tries to smuggle the ball out. McShane picks it up, thinks about a second. And the referee eventually Blows for the knock-on.
Yeah, well, Mason Lino over the top of Paul McShane. On near the line, trying to get your bumpers up. Paul McShane just gets that scrappy offload from Joe Westerman. Mason Lino over the top. There's a little tug of the ball from Mason Lino in a two-man tackle. That should have been a penalty, really, for Castleford. They get away with it. And teams at the bottom of the table, they need some luck.
How do you get a penalty out of that?
They strip the ball off him. Whenever a ball spews out the tackle like that, when the tackle's finished, normally there's a hand in there.
You're on your own this evening. Your pal's at home with his feet up.
Yeah. Enjoying his time off.
Here's Lee Kershaw. Now Renouf Atoni. Once of Canterbury, Atoni. Now then Matty Ashurst. Making his 37th consecutive appearance. Oh, that's a stray pass, and it's lucky it had landed in the hands of Samisoni Lange. He weaves his way into Castleford Tigers territory, but that's the last tackle, and Eden is underneath the ball, claims it, and good chase from Reece Ling. Kershaw there as well.
Greg Eden, he was another good performer last week in the south of France. I thought he looked sharp. Let's not forget, I think it was man of the match when Leeds Rhinos rocked up into town a few weeks ago.
He's Broadbent once more.
He's got that show and go again, hasn't he? Wakey just need to fire in here. Well, set restart again, it's not going to help them.
Here's Beretta Faraimo, set restart signal. Let's go down to the sideline and hear from Jenna.
Yeah, evening, Bill. Just an observation. The Wakefield Trinity head coach, Mark Applegarth, I can tell you, has not gone up into the stands, which most coaches do here at the Mendehoes Jungle. He is down on the touchline. There he is there, and he's barking orders, if you like, at his players. Of course, it's been the worst start to a Super League season for Wakefield. 7 defeats in as many games. They're trying to get their first win here at the Jungle tonight.
Thanks, Jenna. They trail by 6 points to 0, and is there a Wakefield hand in there? Did Kershaw just nudge that?
Well, he pulls the trigger, doesn't he, Kershaw? I don't think he touches it, though. I think the ball comes forward off Jordan Turner, is it? And Wakefield do get the ball. Well, they wedge in. You can see it's quick hands from Niall Laval's. It looks like there was fingers, to be fair, Bill.
Might have got away with one there. Wakefield's head and feet. Quarter of the game gone. They'll probably be thankful that it is only 6-0, because that early try from McShane rocked them. They've steadied the ship well of Wakefield.
Yeah, they were under the pump. Then they were putting some pressure on Castleford for about 5 or 10 minutes up near their line. But I think what works for Wakefield has been nice and direct. Instead of playing lateral, let the forwards make big inroads. I know it's difficult when you're confronted by some solid defence like that. Well, the Wakefield players have got their hands up because they play the balls. The rucks are a bit too slow. They've been dominated, turned on the back.
Liam Kay, who's just come on to replace Liam Hood in that hooking role. Was a bit of a doubt about Liam Hood going into this game. Just a bit of a niggle, potentially. He started, but he's been replaced by the versatile Liam Kay. Here's the versatile Will Dagger. And a bit of obstruction there.
Yeah. Well, he's on it, isn't he? He called it, Marcus Griffiths, straight away. They look to get the numbers out wide. And Samisoni Lange that's run into Mahe Fanua, runs straight into him, obstructs him. Again, it's another call that's not gone their way.
Big crowd here at the Mendehoes Jungle, but it's a bit subdued at the moment.
I think the fans are as nervous as the players, to be fair.
I think they are. I mean, it is early days in the season, and yet you get the feeling that if Wakefield are going to turn the tide, then this is the sort of game, the best chance they're going to have. Well, having said that, they got very close against Salford just the other week, lost in Golden Point extra time, 13-14. That's the closest they've come this season. They're trailing at the moment to this Castleford Tigers side, who have George Lawler in possession. Just clocked up 100 Super League appearances as Lawler. Broadbent. Here is Evans. Evans taking him on. Brought down by Lino and Samisoni Langi. Castleford Tigers threatening here. Here is Westerman. Westerman taking it into the heart of Wakefield's defence. About 12 metres or so away from the line. Run around with McShane. Miller. Jordan Turner comes back across the field. Turner looking for a hole, but Jay Pitts comes out the line and brings him down. Here's Broadbent, a little step from Broadbent, but Wakefield read that. And Liam Kay was there to make the tackle, and that'd be the turnover.
And that's what I mean with Jack Broadbent, because he's not a natural 6. I'm not saying he's not got a good kicking game, but he is a runner of the ball, and when he gets his hands on the ball on the last play, he's looking for that big step. He's looking to get defenders going towards the sideline and to expose them. The shape from Castleford, attacking shape, is really good. Now 24 minutes, they're just leading by 6 points.
And that try, McShane try, Wakefield will be kicking themselves, because that was a defensive switch off, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They were punished for a bit of sloppiness.
Well, any lapse in concentration, like I said, you switch off for 1 second, and all of a sudden you look up at the scoreboard and you're 6 behind.
Renufa Tony, little ball back from Mason Lino to Matty Ashurst. He was ever present all last season, was Ashurst, and he hasn't missed this season yet. He hasn't missed a game since September 2021, in fact. Here's Lino, nice step from Lino, then gets the pass away to Morgan Smith. Smith to Reece Lynn. Lynn looking to keep the ball alive, but that was on the last. It'll be the turnover. Oh, desperation there.
Yeah, Mason Lino, well, he spots something, doesn't he? He plays on instincts, Mason Lino. Looks down that short side, he goes for it. It doesn't quite come off, but again, where they turn the ball over, under some pressure there, Reece Lynn, Greg Eden all over him. Loses possession. But you'd rather make a mistake that end of the field than close to your own line.
Wakefield have found points hard to come by on their travels. They've been nilled in 3 of their 4 away matches so far this season. Oof, that nearly went wrong for the Castleford Tigers. Here's Mellor now. Mellor cantering down the field and making good yards for the Castleford Tigers. But a sloppy pass finds Broadbent. Had to stop and pick that ball up. 4 tackles gone. 20 metres away from Wakefield's line as Jacob Miller takes the ball, and the cheers of the Wakefield supporters. Here's Lawler now, driven sideways by Wakefield's defenders. That's the 5th tackle. He's lost it in the tackle, and Renu Fantoni and Liam Kay celebrate there.
Well, Tony, he's a big man. I was really impressed with him when he played against Leeds Rhinos earlier on in the year. Big, powerful player, physical. You can see slams into the ground. Whitbread's got his shoulder under the ball. He pulls away from the tackle. The ball spews out. And he'll take that mistake from Lawler. They've got 90 metres to go here to get up the other end of the field and maybe get over the try line.
And they've still got 90, just about, probably 88 now, as Samisoni Langi finds territory hard to come by. Here is Jay Pitts in his 2nd spell with Wakefield. A Tony. Wakefield edging their way towards their own 40-metre line, but that's 3 tackles gone. Cries of forward from the Castleford Tigers supporters as Jordan Crowther plays the ball. Kevin Proctor is on. He's back in the side, having missed the last 3 games, the former New Zealand international. Here is Mason Lino. Deep kick into the arms of Greg Eden.
Looking for a bit more distance on that ball then. Mason Lino. Quite an easy catch at the back from Greg Eden. Look how compressed they are. All those white jerseys for Wakefield. knowing that the first 2 or 3 plays from Castleford are going to be nice and tight around the run. Paul McShane just examining what's in front of him at marker, and those tight defenders either side of the play the ball.
Renouf and Atoni, two of the Renouf, Atoni and Kevin Proctor, two of the new recruits for Wakefield this season. Here is Kenny Edwards. Bundle of energy Edwards is when he comes off the bench. Turner. Here is Miller. Mustafa. As the coaches make the changes. Mustafa coming off the bench for Castleford. Miller dinks a little kick high into the air. Dagger was coming for it. The ball is batted back. Still on the last. Still alive with Miller. Miller loops the pass to Faraimo. Faraimo flicks the ball away. It's Mahe Fanua. Fanua's kick. It's still loose. And Miller almost capitalised on that. Who's knock on? Wakefield knock on. Castle get the ball back.
Yeah, well, I think Will Dagger knocks on. And again, I think they could be lucky here that they don't get done for a man stood in front of them. Will Dagger, well, he's just desperate at the back. They're just trying to cut the play down. You can see, I think it comes off Matty Ashurst in an offside position. That could have been a penalty for Castleford. Offloads it, gets rid of it. The kick, yeah, comes forward, hits Ashurst. Another set of 6, though, they've got to defend.
Coming up to the half-hour mark. And the Castleford Tigers leading by 6 points to 0, but an opportunity maybe to put more points on the board here as the ball reaches Niall Evolds back in the side, having missed the last 4 games. Evolds, a real strike player, although he's in a bit of a lean patch. Evolds plays the ball 10 metres out. Mustafa driving it hard. Atoni stands his ground.
Do you know, he's a bundle of energy, isn't he?
McShane. Here is Jacob Miller. Broadbent little step and Broadbent cut down. Good tackle from Mason Lino. Ashurst arriving over the top. McShane. McShane's pass. Lawler, try scorer at Huddersfield a few weeks ago, but stopped by the Wakefield defenders there. Jacob Miller's pass. Evolds puts the brakes on. Lynn applies more pressure on him to stop him in his tracks. Here's McShane. Little kick from McShane. Comes back to him, and Wakefield come up with the ball.
Well, they were hunting really hard, and they end up getting the ball. Still got it all to do here. You get confidence from that. And Wakefield, when you consider all the pressure that they've been under in this game as they get another set restart, they look at that scoreboard and think, right, we're doing a decent job. They've got to keep doing it, though, for 50 minutes.
Here is Samisoni Langi. Played for France in the World Cup last year, did Samisoni Langi, by virtue of the fact that he'd spent so long in France with the Catalan Dragons. The ball touched by the Castleford Tigers, so Wakefield gets 6 to go. Here is Kevin Proctor.
Yeah, he offloads the ball. You can see it's patted down by Mahe Fanua.
Here's Lino once more. Here is Ashurst now. Ashurst to Senior. Senior cutting back in field.
He's causing problems, Mason Lino, always creating the overlap out wide.
Broadbent for Rimo with the tackle. 20 metres away. Here is Jordan Crowder. Crowder up to the 10-metre line. Kay still going, still going. He's held up just short of the try line. So Kevin Proctor. Here is Mason Lino now. Lino showed the dummy. Castleford Tigers not buying it. That's the 5th tackle. Samisoni Langi. Dagger, little grubber kick, and it's straight into the hands of McShane. Now McShane being pursued by Dagger, looking for some support by Greg Eden. Eden goes outside Dagger. Eden going all the way now. Eden will not be caught. Greg Eden turns that Wakefield attacking opportunity into a Castleford Tigers try. McShane grabbing the ball. He knew he didn't have the pace, but he knew a man that did. It was Greg Eden getting his first try of the season and breaking Wakefield's hearts. They have struggled to get a sight of the Castleford Tigers try line. When they did, they gave the ball to Castleford. and ended up seeing them go in to score the try.
Well, what a cruel game. All of a sudden you're attacking one end. Then Paul McShane, well, he gets hold of the ball, and those little legs, well, they're not quite as fast as what they used to be. But one man who's got quick legs, Greg Eden, he gets one opportunity, gets one crack at it, and he's always going to score that try. Niall Evalds has come up with two big defensive plays to prevent Wakefield from scoring tries. And then Paul McShane was ready to pounce, gives the ball to that man. And that's a sign of a good side, although they're at the bottom of the end of the table. Create opportunities, the opportunities that are presented, you've got to finish them. And Greg Eden did that, and Andy Last, well, still his application in for the head coaching job going forward. He'll be pleased with the start.
Takes Greg Eden to 97 Super League tries for the Castleford Tigers. Paul McShane with the conversion attempts as half-time approaches, and that is a crushing blow for Wakefield, who'd recovered well from conceding that very early. Was it 3 minutes, that try from McShane? But then McShane broke away. McShane everywhere for Castleford this evening. He converts that. They lead by 12 points to 0.
Well, Cass haven't took any shortcuts in this game, even when they were lining up to defend. The spacing was right, everything was right. There was a lot of talk, communication. Paul McShane said he gets hold of that ball. Greg Eden, one of the quickest men in Super League, gets hold of this ball. And how many times have we seen him go over the line like that to score important tries? Well, they kicked that out on the full. Yes, they have.
Goes from bad to worse for Wakefield. Let's hear from the Castleford Tigers coach, Andy Last, who, Andy, you must be pretty pleased with the first half so far.
Yeah, I'm happy with aspects of the performance, but there's some areas that we really need to tidy up. I'd like us to be a little bit more precise and detailed in our good ball attack. I think we're looking a little bit just disjointed there, but defensively I think we've been very good. We've starved them of some field position, and the periods where we've had to defend our try line, we've done that exceptionally well.
And that was a real opportunist finish from Greg Eden, wasn't it? That's exactly who you want in a situation like that.
Yeah, well, Makarov showed his speed over 40 metres. His little legs were running like Sonic at the head jog. And then obviously Greg was there in good position. So, yeah, really good to score a try on a bit of a counter-punch.
Thanks, Andy.
No problem.
And here, off the back of that restart that went out on the full, come the Castleford Tigers once again in the closing minutes of this first half. They lead by 12 points to 0. And Miller gets the ball to Kenny Edwards, who ducked under the first challenge. Good job that Renew for Tony and Proctor were there to stop him making any more progress. Here is McShane, spins the ball out to Miller. Miller going across the field. Short pass finds Westerman. Westerman steaming onto that. 4 tackles gone. Just to the right of the posts. They are. McShane, little grubber kick, dribbles in, and Miller was chasing it, but it's batted down by Will Dagger.
Well, all about building pressure from that man, Paul McShane. He knows there's only 4 minutes to half-time. He just turns the screw yet again on Wakefield. And they want to play in this good ball area this side. Will Dagger not taking any chances, grounding the ball just behind the try line. They'll be looking for depth on this kick.
He's got a bit of a breeze at his back, Dagger. Miller ducks under that pass from Niall Evalds. And then Muzzy Mustafa drives the ball back towards that Wakefield try line. Still time if the Castleford Tigers fancy a few more points on the board before the interval. Here is Westerman. They're inside that Wakefield 20. Lawler. Kay gets a piggyback to bring him down. Bang in front of those posts they are now. McShane, Westerman, but Westerman stationary virtually when he took that pass. Crowther making the tackle. Here is Lawler once more. Lawler trying to wriggle his way through. Held up, says the referee. So they come back to the 10-metre line. Still plenty of tackles for them to go at. Here's Mustafa now. They're really driving it into this Wakefield defence of the Castleford Tigers. McShane Here is Westerman. McShane on the run around. Mellor bobs the ball out the back to McShane. McShane shapes to kick. McShane, oh, the ball is batted down. Knocked on, says the referee. But he has got the scent of points tonight as Paul McShane.
Well, they come up with an outrageous dummy here. He gets hold of the ball, looks to kick. Samisoni Langi just came back and just rescued that then as he was stood up by Paul McShane, but strong defence. And from the inside from Wakefield, who will get the ball back. He's causing problems, Paul McShane.
Former man of steel, Paul McShane, who went into the season, came into the season, I think, with a bit of a knock.
They keep skipping on this, so we'll turn that off, but it's all on me.
Doesn't look
10 seconds.
below par this evening.
You forget as well, he had a couple of seasons at Wakefield.
Off. Ball in, Mason.
Hedenfield to Wakefield then. So at least they get their hands on the ball. And they've avoided any further punishment. 12-0, the bottom of the table, Trinity side trail. Here's Kay. Crowther, Kevin Proctor now. Broadbent clinging on to the ankle to stop his progress. Kay. Matty Ashurst. Mellor making the tackle. Westerman in there as well. Here is Mason Lino. Lino toying with the Castleford Tigers defence, and then a burst of pace. Here is Reece Lynn, strong centre Reece Lynn. It's taken 4 of them to stop his progress. That's the 5th tackle. Kershaw. Morgan Smith, on it comes to Crowther. Crowther to Mason Lino. Lino keeping it going. Dagger. Dagger to Samisoni Langi. The ball hits Beretta Faraimo.
Physical player, Beretta Faraimo. And he's renowned for some big hits. And he times that to perfection, doesn't he? When he comes in on Samisoni Langi, he hits him with everything. Just as Langi's trying to get the ball to Senior, he comes in, belts him. Oof. Who says wingers can't defend?
That kind of sums up the first half for Wakefield. Promising situations, but snuffed out by some really solid Castleford Tigers defence. And when the Castleford Tigers have had their opportunities, which haven't been that many, they've taken the most of them. They've made the most of them to lead by 12 points to 0 at the interval.
Bill, Terry, thank you very much. It sums up the season, Bill, for Wakefield. Yet again, they have ended a half of rugby league scoreless. Where are the points going to come from? Well, you would imagine they thought they'd be going in with a 6-point deficit until Paul McShane swooped up on a loose pass and found the flying Greg Eden on his outside. And the Cass star, well, he finished under the post to give his side a very healthy half-time lead. Analysis with John Wells and Jamie Jones-Buchanan after this.
A little step from Broadbent. Broadbent looking for some support. McShane! McShane gets the first try of the night. Dagger, little grubber kick, and it's straight into the hands of McShane. Now McShane being pursued by Dagger, looking for some support by Greg Eden. Eden goes outside Dagger. Eden going all the way now. Eden will not be caught.
We are 40 minutes into Rivals round, and it's the Castleford Tigers fans here at the Mendahoes Jungles who are smiling. They have a 12-0 half-time lead over near neighbours Wakefield Trinity, who are trying to play their way back into this game and play their way back into this season, John Wells.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think for both sides, particularly with Wakefield, however, the next 10 minutes, the first 10 minutes of this second half could define not only the result of this game, not only the result of their season, but their status as Super League players.
There is Michael Carter, Chief Executive of Wakefield Trinity, who has initiated or signalled his intent to stand down at the end of the season. I just wonder, for Mark Applegarth, his appointment, how crucial the next 40 minutes is.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't go their way, Wakefield may look to make a change to ignite their side.
And it will weigh very heavily on Michael Carter as well, because Mark Applegarth is well respected and well liked, and it's not a decision that he will take lightly.
Yeah, context is, Ken. Look, Darryl Powell, the former coach here at Castleford Tigers, built an empire. He was outstanding, but he was a great coach. Struggled last year with Warrington, right? Persevered, but he had that backdrop, that prior history to lean on. Mark Applegarth hasn't got that. You know, he's a previous youth coach, and that for me is what's disappointing, because under different circumstances, with a different group that hasn't been turned over as much as Wakefield, you know, this might not be a reflection of who he is as a coach, as a practitioner.
Well, his side were first out on the field here at the Mendehouse Jungle to start the second half, but they have been second best so far. What does the second half hold for Wakefield Trinity fans in here? Will it be Castleford that seal the win? You'll find out with our commentary team of Terry O'Connor and Bill Arthur.
Thank you, Brian. Can Wakefield turn the tide here? They need to start scoring tries, and that they have struggled to do. They scored 4 in their round 1 home defeat to the Catalan Dragons. 24-38 that finished. 4 in that game. They've just scored 3 in 6 subsequent matches. Lewis Murphy missing. The man who scored 4 tries against St Helens last season in a 34-18 victory. Wakefield, the only team to win at Saints last season. Lewis Murphy 4 tries in that game. What they wouldn't give for that sort of finishing power as they start this second half trailing by 12 points to 0.
Well, they probably need the same mentality as they had when they played against Salford away from home. And you know, you saw Mark Applegarth in the change rooms, very animated, and he'd be frustrated with chances that they've missed and the way that his side had performed. And I agree with JJB that, look, this isn't his side. Eadwood needs time. He's well respected by all the players, missing some key players that left the club last year to make a career elsewhere. Maybe if Mark Applegarth were given the job, they may have stayed. Who knows now?
Well, looking for a positive start to this second half for the white-shirted Wakefield Trinity players. Sam Hewitt plays the ball. Morgan Smith hurriedly gets the kick away, and Evans is underneath it just outside his own in-goal area and is put to ground on the 10-metre line. Wakefield looking to rattle the Castleford Tigers early in this second half to try and get some authority on this game. They had a really good purple patch. They had a couple of opportunities, couldn't convert those into scoring chances.
Well, when you look at the previous 7 games that they've always had a purple patch in the game where they've always performed, but consistently doing it over 80 minutes. They've not been able to do that.
Here's Mahe Fanua playing the ball on the Castleford Tigers 40-metre line. Here is Joe Westerman now, just shy of the halfway line as the 33-year-old Westerman plays the ball. Now Jacob Miller with the deep kick. Dagger underneath the ball and then runs it straight back towards Lawler and Muzzy Mustafa. Dagger and Lawler, former Hull Kingston Rovers colleagues.
That's good.
There is senior now.
Paul McShane. When Dagger gets hold of that ball, it just goes nice and straight. You see Kay getting out, just trying to isolate a defender, but those defenders in the Cassia throughout the game, you just look at the scoreboard where the big fat 0 is. They've done a decent job.
Crowther playing the ball. Here's Mason Lino, little step drop of the shoulder, but Westerman, seasoned campaigner, saw that one coming. Morgan Smith outside of the boot, puts a good kick in. Eden claims it. Samisoni Langi there to pin him to the ground. Good little set that from Wakefield.
Well, again, Mason Lino, whenever they do anything well, it comes off the back of Mason Lino. And now the Vals brave at the back under some pressure. Muzzy Mustafa, compact, so strong. Muzzy Mustafa, really like him.
Eden. Here is Kenny Edwards now. Edwards, unpredictable, weaving his way across the field. Edwards plays the ball. Here is Lawler now. Renew for Tony with the tackle on him. Nice kick from Miller.
And he was doing that this time last year in a Wakefield shirt. One of the senior pros, well respected. Whichever side he plays for, and the game management that he possesses, It's right up there.
Let's go down to the sideline. We're going to hear from James Ford, who's assistant to Mark Applegarth for Wakefield Trinity. James, what's the priority at the start of the second half?
We need to improve physically. Certainly now we started in the first half. I thought we got rolled coming out of yardage, and then I don't think we ran hard enough. That gifted Castleford much more territory to ask questions and kick from. So we spoke about it, and you know what? I think we started this half a little bit better. So let's keep going.
And there were some promising signs when you got into good territory. You posed a threat.
Yeah, we did. We asked some good questions. We created a couple of chances, and we probably found the only pass or not pass in that sequence that didn't score. But we're just going to keep batting away. There's some good players out on that field in Wakey shirts, and I'm sure it'll turn soon.
Thanks, James.
Thank you.
Halfway line. It's Wakefield in possession. Renew for Tony playing the ball. Morgan Smith gets the kick away, and it's dropped by Faraimo, and there was just a bit of hesitation by Evalds and Faraimo, just wondering who was going to go for that ball.
Yeah, there was, exactly. You know, it's an easy assessment, an easy plan and game plan. What James Ford said then about the side being rolled, quite simple. You've got to run harder, you've got to tackle harder, and we'll play off the back of that. That's all you need to do. Don't complicate the game. When you're at the bottom of the table, you're fighting for survival, you're fighting for your future. Get back to basics and do them well.
Wait, you're missing one.
Well, what an opportunity this is then at the start of the second half for Wakefield Trinity after that error at the back by the Castleford Tigers. Head and feed to Wakefield, 10 metres away, and here's Samisoni Langi careering towards that Castleford Tigers line. Evalds and Westerman stopping his progress. Liam Kay, Kevin Proctor driving the ball in. Again, Westerman is there. Kay, here's Mason Lino. Lino on to Morgan Smith. Smith, it comes to Dagger. Dagger to Reece Lynn, but Castleford Tigers had numbered up well in defence there, and nowhere for Reece Lynn to go. 3 tackles gone this set as Morgan Smith gives the ball to Jordan Crowther. 10 metres away, Castleford Tigers keeping Wakefield at bay at the moment. Kay, here's Renew for Tony. The ball on to Lino. Lino, the pass reaches Senior. Senior cuts back in field, goes to ground before they can put him into touch, but that's the 5th tackle. Can Castleford Tigers withstand the pressure here? Langi, Mason Lino will kick cross field. They're all going to challenge for it. It's going to come up for the Castleford Tigers in the end. It's knocked on. Miller protesting that the ball went backwards. Marcus Griffiths, the referee, tells him nope. Knock on.
Well, he puts himself in perfect position, doesn't he? Mason Lino with the kick drops it on the head of Jacob Miller, and as he goes up, the referee Marcus Griffiths in a good spot. He says that ball's gone forward. I think it's gone backwards.
Initially it bobbled when Miller went up for it.
And again, it's Mason Lino. You give him the ball, something's going to happen.
Well, Wakefield cannot ask for a better position at the start of this second half. They wanted a response. They've got a good platform for it. Back-to-back sets here, and a penalty to boot. Is that the first of the game, Ian? I beg your pardon, no, it wasn't. It was out on the full, wasn't it?
I think this is Wakefield's first of the game. What they've had.
Yeah, I think of an obstruction as well, but it has not been littered with penalties this game. Here is Crowther now.
Get on the line! Hold.
So Wakefield being invited to attack this Castleford Tigers line. Renouf Atoni. It's his dad's favourite player, Steve Renouf, so he called his son Renouf. And here is Mason Lino. Lino to Dagger. Dagger short ball. Samisoni Langi gets the try for Wakefield. They strike back. Mark Applegarth is cool and collected on the sideline, but Samisoni Langi strikes for his first of the season. And the Wakefield supporters celebrate. They have earned that at the start of this second half.
Well, Mark Applegarth will be more confident now. Like I said, he was animated at half-time. They needed that field position. They get hold of the ball. And they're offside here, Castleford. And when you get down here and you've got a player like Mason Lino in your side, You're going to cause some problems. You get him on the ball as much as you can. He holds up some defenders. Will Dagger does a decent job as well. Gets Mahe Fanua interested for that split second. And when you see Mahe Fanua just having a little look what's going on with Will Dagger, it just buys a bit of time for the powerful centre, Samisoni Langi, to barge over the line. And like I said, Will Dagger, good ball. Langi, good finish. And Wakefield back in this game.
And a successful conversion from Mason Lino would be a further boost for this Wakefield side after Samisoni Langi's first of the season. Lino from the sideline, can't drag it round. 12-4. Well, James Ford was telling us they wanted a positive start to the second half. They've got that.
Yeah, like I said, run harder, tackle harder, turn up for your mate, players in motion around the man who's carrying the ball. Dagger did a decent job. Sangi gets over the line. Even though they've missed the conversion, they've scored points. They've managed to get over the try line, which will give them some confidence.
And you track that back to that high kick that Evels and Faraimo got in a bit of a tangle with, got knocked on, and that's the outcome, ultimately.
So if you work on that theory, Bill, for them to cause any problems and call Cass some trouble, they need to keep the ball down there. They need some powerful runs like that from a Tony. See Kay desperate for the play of the ball to be quick. Strong defence.
That's lifted Wakefield. That's a good response from Kenny Edwards in the colours of the Castleford Tigers. Now here's Kevin Proctor, legs driving the former Kiwi international. 22 caps for New Zealand, Kevin Proctor. Morgan Smith, Reece Lynn just shuffles past one of the Castleford Tigers defenders. And here comes Kershaw towards the middle of the field. That's the 5th tackle. So Lino will put up another teasing kick, but this one is collected by Niall Evels. And Evels, with Ashurst closing him down.
Well, a couple of quick rooks, then all of a sudden, look at the life now that's in the Liam Kay. Trying to stop play 2 from Faraimo. And Jack Broadbent now just trying to get upfield and make a bit of a dent in the defensive line.
It's McShane. Greg Eden, first half try scorer.
This is one of those purple patches we spoke about, Bill, from Wakefield. They've got to keep this tone going and this tempo going.
Westerman. Tackled by Renouf Tony and Miller. Deep kick in his senior, comfortably underneath that one, and then one of the lone players in his senior in the Wakefield ranks is dumped to the ground.
Well, Kenny Edwards again. 2 tackles in the last minute or so. Come up with 2 bell ringers.
It's Kershaw coming back across fields.
Good technique, isn't it? Just to pick senior up and drop him.
Ashurst, tackled by Mahe Fanua. Castleford Tigers responding to that Wakefield try with a good, strong defensive set here. Whitbread plays the ball on his own 40-metre line and looking for a 40-20 is Morgan Smith and getting it! What a response that is! Morgan Smith, once at Warrington, taking matters into his own hands there.
Highly rated as a youngster, wasn't he, Morgan Smith? You've got to sum up really quick what's the play, what's best for the team. And that's a great kick. And again, look at that field position.
Well, now then, can they capitalise? Here is Jai Whitbread. Jordan Crowther to Mason Lino. Lino out the back. Here is Reece Lynn. Lynn again. Jordan Turner. He and Jordan Turner having quite a tussle. Smith. Here is Kevin Proctor. Proctor driving it in. Mustafa down low to initiate the tackle. Dagger up top. Here's Crowther. Mason Lino. Lino, Dagger, and the ball is too strong. And Scott Burrell, one of the assistant coaches, jubilant on the sidelines, one of the Castleford assistant coaches, as that Wakefield attack comes to nothing.
Yeah, well, they get that shift wrong, don't they? Dagger just caught in 2 minds. He didn't, and he wasn't aware of where Langi was or senior. I thought when they were attacking over on the right-hand side, Reece Lynn, he steps back into the field of play. I thought if he would have pinned his ears back and gone for it, maybe he would have had a 2-on-1. Maybe he would have got over the line himself. They've got a big defensive set of 6 here. And I think a big 7 minutes, really, for Wakefield.
So Castleford Tigers, who've been second best so far in this second half, haven't spent much time in Wakefield territory, in actual fact, since the resumption. Only points of the second half have come from Wakefield. Score from Samisoni Langi. McShane scoops the ball up and goes on a run over the halfway line.
That's a good play. Paul McShane from dummy half. Lawler over the advantage line.
And then Miller with the boot, high again. Innes Senior stakes a claim for that ball, gathers it, but it's a good follow-up tackle from Mellor.
Well, didn't he have to be brave then? He knew that Mellor and Broadbent were just in the vicinity, desperate for the mistake. Look at this, gets out, gets people interested. It's a good 15-20 metre play, that, from Paul McShane, especially on the last tackle.
So now Wakefield have got to grind their way back up the other end in the face of some determined Castleford defending. Here is Jay Pitts. Mellor stands his ground to make the tackle just inside their own half. That's the 5th tackle, and Mason Lino will have the ball. It's a spiraling kick, wicked kick, and Eden did well.
Yeah, coming across, didn't he do well? He wasn't going to let that ball bounce, but like he said, it was a wicked kick for Eden to take. He dealt with it.
You said it was a wicked kick. We
Sorry,
both said it was a wicked kick.
Then.
Here's Jordan Turner. Up to the halfway line come the Castleford Tigers. Have they weathered the storm? They only shipped that 1 try. Could have been worse. Turner shoves Morgan Smith out the way.
He walks off the mark, though.
Don't push forward, you'll get a quicker up. On the line, 3.
And Marcus Griffiths very calm, explaining the situation there, just getting Jordan Turner to play the ball where he was supposed to play it.
Hold, go 4.
Here's Kenny Edwards. Kay it was down low with the tackle. Here's Miller now. Miller on the last teasing kick. Dagger will come for it and claim it. And Miller there to make the tackle as he comes back down to ground.
Squeezing with everything, then he wasn't willing to let Dagger get up and play the ball quickly.
2. Move, George, and then you keep coming. Good listening, mate. Go 2.
Nice catch under pressure. I feel like they're just struggling. They had a really good patch. 5 minutes, they were on the front foot. Now all of a sudden Castleford are just getting back into the game. Jacob Miller flying off the line. Gets the offload away to Kay.
Liam Kay. Here's Matty Ashurst now. Ashurst and McShane, 2 seasoned campaigners going head-to-head there. Jay Pitts. Edwards stops his progress. That's the 5th tackle, just outside Castleford's 40 as Morgan Smith puts the high kick in. Evalds comes for it and gathers that one safely.
We'll just trade in sets now, Paul, for this side. The game's gone into that bit of a lull where either side's desperate for a penalty. Good run from Eden.
Eden scampers through and is eventually hauled down. That's a penalty. Let's go down to the sidelines, hear from Jenna.
Yeah, Bill, I can tell you that there are over 8,000 in here at the Jungle tonight, but it is the quietest crowd at this stadium that I can remember. It's not your usual party atmosphere here, that's for sure. A sense of perhaps nerves in the air. We all know how important this game is to both teams in the context of the season. 2 big points on the line tonight, that's for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. It has been an anxious atmosphere around the Menderhose Jungle tonight. Castleford Tigers supporters aren't breathing easy yet, despite leading 12 points to 4, and Wakefield supporters haven't given up hope, but they know that they need something here tonight to ignite their season. Another defeat, and it just prolongs the misery. Here is Miller, no look pass from Miller. Turner plays the ball. McShane, one try to his name already this evening. Miller drops the ball off. Griffin it is, charging onto that pass. McShane's pass, back in field to Evalds. 4 tackles gone. Evalds is held up on his back. Castleford threatening for the first time, I think, in this second half, really.
Well, one more play now that Wakefield have got to defend. Looks like they're going to make a substitution as well and bring Liam Hood onto the field. Try and speed it up around the ruck.
On the last 10 metres away, it's Broadbent, and a charging run from Frino, who loses possession. And they'll go back to the 20. So, Frino looking to bulldoze his way through there, but nothing doing for him.
Yeah, well, that's how you come onto the ball, isn't it? He made 182 metres last week off 21 carries in the south of France. Very strong, did well to stop him.
Former USA international Beretta Frino. Here is Jay Pitts. Jai Whitbread was the Lee Centurions Whitbread and Gold Coast. He had an impressive season last year in Wakefield colours. It's Morgan Smith. Mason Lino now. Lino trying to wrong foot Castleford's defence. 4 tackles gone. About 15 metres away they are now. Ashurst comes back into the middle of the field where he's greeted by Kenny Edwards and Griffin. Jay Pitts now on the last, and Pitts running it. Was he tripped?
Or was it Joe Westerman that just sticks his foot out? You know, Jay Pitts is been a bit of trouble. You can see dummies, he goes. Yeah, he sticks his foot out, he was caught. It's definitely a penalty. Look, sticks it out, his nose, he's got it all wrong. 10 minutes in the bin.
10 minutes in the bin for Joe Westerman.
Well, he knew he got that tackle all wrong, Joe Westerman, the former Wakefield favourite. And this game will mean so much to him. He was the player of the year back in 2021 for them.
Reigning player of the year for the Castleford Tigers as well.
Yeah, he's had an outstanding couple of years, but you can see he pumps the ball, takes it back. You can see Westerman, he's looking what's going on in front of him. He's looking at Mason Lino, he's looking at Crowther. He takes his eyes off the man that's got the ball, Pitts. Well, a big 10 minutes here now for Andy Lastman, isn't it?
Down to 12, Wakefield on the attack and looking to strike again. Here is Whitbread. Castleford Tigers back on their own try line. The Wakefield supporters at their backs, urging their side on. Lino short ball. Ashurst was running onto it. And that's good defence from the Castleford Tigers as Matty Ashurst looked to find a way through. Hood will try and find a way through himself, but Wakefield are denied once more. Castleford Tigers getting numbers in there. So they go for a bit of width this time. Dagger on it comes to Mason Lino. Then he signals Crowther to come back on his outside. Castleford Tigers keeping Wakefield at bay at the moment, having just had Joe Westerman sent to the sin bin. His Whitbread, his Pitts, and Pitts. Good defence once more. Kenny Edwards having a solid game for the Castleford Tigers this evening. Here's Lino once more. Lino, one dummy. It's Morgan Smith, and Smith bouncing it, almost opened up for him. Somehow smuggles the ball away. The referee signalling.
Yeah, he's saying that the tackle was complete.
It was complete.
Yeah. Obviously the panic set in from Morgan Smith. He was just trying to get rid of that ball. He decided to take on the cast defenders. Cast defenders were strong over on the left-hand side, like they were over on the right. And Jack Broadbent coming up with a couple of good tackles, good efforts.
That's a result. That's a result for Cass.
Yeah. Well, this is good, solid defence, and look at that.
That's a result for Wakefield. Jordan Turner sent backwards. McShane stopped in his tracks. There's a bit of fire in Wakefield bellies now after that try. The only try of this second half belongs to Wakefield, and they're trying to keep the Castleford Tigers down at their end of the field. Jordan Turner playing the ball. Massey.
Some strong efforts now in defence from both sides, really.
Here is George Griffin. Had a spell with Wakefield on loan back in 2015, did George Griffin. And Miller now. Big, deep kick. Sinia.
Who can defend these final 17 minutes? Who can close this game out?
Here's Samisoni Langi, whose try has given Wakefield a bit of hope, and whose weaving run has given them a bit of territory.
You know, you feel 8-point lead now from Cass just isn't enough at the minute.
Especially with Westerman in the bin. This is a golden opportunity for Wakefield. Can they capitalise? Here is Ashurst. Ashurst on it comes to Dagger. Dagger for Nua with the tackle. Dagger slow to his feet, having taken a clout from Mercer's Fanua and Faraimo, who's Whitbread now. Oh dear, a smack on the brow as Will Dagger. Here goes Liam Hood, former Leeds man, Scottish international. Hood plays the ball. Mason Lino now, ball over the top. It comes off Faraimo, and it's gone forwards.
Well, there's a forward pass. There was a knock on by that man, Faraimo, but the ball drifts forward from Wakefield. Mason Lino, you can see he throws that ball, it goes forward. Faraimo, well, the Wakefield fans, when this ball goes over the top, all they can see is Faraimo jumping and thinking, oh no. You can see a metre forward, but desperate, playing catch-up Mark Applegarth's men.
Just trying to get over the top of Faraimo was Mason Lino.
And knowing as well they've got that numerical advantage for probably about another 5 more minutes. Will Dagger
patched up, his second appearance since his swap.
Move Wakefield, back with me, hold, wait, go, one.
Here is Jordan Turner.
2, move Sam, get away.
Just the one try in this second half. It's a try that's given Wakefield some hope, but they've got to get more points on the board soonish to trouble this Castleford Tigers side, who spent most of this second half, it seems, away to our right.
Yeah, they're the ones who've been doing an awful lot of defence in this second half.
Well, now they're edging towards Wakefield territory.
Well, even all that possession position that they've had in this second half, when he's managed to score one try, Wakefield.
Miller hoists the kick. Dagger, blooded, has his eyes on the ball nevertheless.
Yeah, he won't be concerned with
poor Will Dagger's made a hash of that.
Yeah, makes an error. And everyone will talk about playing the ball quickly. And Will Dagger, he tries his best, doesn't he, to get up, play the ball. Jack
Broadbent all over
Jack Broadbent all over him. Casper, the decider that celebrate. It was a good kick chase. He's got an issue, obviously, with his eye. Whether or not the ref will stop the game here so he can get some attention. And this is where he gets clobbered. I think it's Fanua over the top. And then Fanua and Faraimo. Well, both of them just giving him a bit of afters when he's on the floor.
For Faraimo, for Fanua, exactly.
Once he goes, I just
they are two big guys, Beretta Faraimo and Mahe Fanua.
Yeah, both of them physical, aren't they, over on that right-hand side. Whether they're carrying the ball, defending, and Will Dagger, well, all he wanted to do was catch that ball, get back into the action, get him patched up. There's no way that he wants to leave this field with 14 minutes to go.
Will Dagger unhappy with the situation. Joe Westerman waiting for a chance to come back, but his teammates have possession after that knock on at the play the ball. And the Castleford Tigers in this second half have a rare opportunity to test Wakefield's defence. Just outside Wakefield 10 is McShane, has Miller in support. Miller has Kenny Edwards coming back into the middle of the field. Runs into the defence of Jordan Crowther and Whitbread, and here is McShane once more. Massey Pitts with the tackle, Hood in there to slow things down. Here is Broadbent, nice pass, and reaching out was Turner, just couldn't get there. McShane's little kick, the ball ricochets, and it's back with McShane. Somehow, Lino and McShane were battling for that ball. Somehow, it's back in Castleford Tigers' hands. Ricocheting. Here is Miller. How he would love to score against his former club, but nothing doing for him there. Castleford supporters that end of the ground urging their side on, maybe to get the try that will settle this contest. Can Broadbent do it? Not like that. Running into the solid frame of Whitbread. Here is McShane. Miller now. Miller. Evels loops the ball out wide, and Eden will get his second of the night. And the Castleford Tigers maybe close out this contest. A second half that has largely belonged to Wakefield, but the tables have been turned. And Greg Eden finishing off that move to get his second of the night and put more distance between the Castleford Tigers and Wakefield Trinity. 16-4 with the kick to come.
Well, Paul McShane, well, he come up with a play in the first half where he caught one of them. He kicks the ball and then he steals it off Mason Lino. They get the ball back. And Paul McShane, he's always looking for an angle. Wakefield get up quick, they jam up, they try to be aggressive out wide and maybe force the ball back on the inside. They're hunting. And a couple of nice little touches, first from Miller, then from Mavals, then to the man who's already scored a try, Greg Eden, goes in for his second. And will that be enough to clinch this game and open up a 4-point advantage on the league table for Castleford over the near neighbours Wakefield?
Takes Greg Eden to 98 Super League tries for the Castleford Tigers. And Wakefield dejected after such a big effort in this second half. But again, another error. Out the back, and they brought the pressure on themselves.
Yeah, and he's been the best, Mason Lino. He's the one who's definitely looked like something was going to come off. Whenever he's had his hands on the ball, especially near Paul McShane and his side's line. Well, a big kick here now.
But McShane has been the ringmaster for the Castleford Tigers. Really in the thick of it, as you'd expect. And from the sideline, he's yanked that one across the face of the posts. But 16-4, 10 minutes to go.
Yeah, we're looking at that scoreboard now, close is. You wouldn't rule out them setting up for a 1 point. Good ball from Niall Valls, wasn't it? Quality. And Wakefield up. They know, Lee Kershaw, well, they know what that try, conceding that try might mean to them.
You cannot fault this second half effort from Wakefield.
No,
surely.
That's it, Bill. The season's not gone. Do you know, like, everyone was calling this game the 4-point ball game, and whoever won it obviously gets further away from the bottom of the table. But if they can put in performances like this consistently, there's going to be a win round the corner. They've just got to stay calm, be composed, turn up, listen to what the coach says, do the right things on the field. And a win's round the corner.
But this would be viewed as one of the best opportunities, up against the side just above you in the table, who haven't really been setting the world on fire either.
Yeah.
Only one win to their name.
Yeah, well, it's a derby game. Anything can happen in a derby game. We'll see that over the weekend as Joe Westerman comes back onto the field. Whether you're above your near neighbour or behind them, it doesn't really matter. It's whoever turns up on the day, plays the best rugby, normally gets the points.
News that Jordan Crowther has left the field for Wakefield for a head injury assessment. Joe Westerman, in the middle of your picture there, is back on the field after his sin binning. Now then, is there some fire in Wakefield's bellies in the last 10 minutes here? Can they rattle the Castleford Tigers cage? Here is Mason Lino. Lino tries again over the top. No, he doesn't. He sells the dummy. Then the ball is lost. It's batted back. And Castleford Tigers will take possession virtually on their own try line. It was Beretta Faraimo who got there. Good job he did, because that ball was loose.
Yeah, was it Niall Valls who comes up with a decent shot on Mason Lino, doesn't he? They're both struggling for the ball. The ball then comes loose. Well, that's the danger of Lino.
It's the Castleford Tigers supporters who are celebrating. The drums beating to our left. Wakefield supporters over to our right. Quiet, just absorbing the situation. Another defeat on the cards as Miller puts a deep, deep kick downfield into the arms of Senior.
Big 7.5 minutes now for Castleford. Jacob Miller. Here he is. Look at that line speed from him, trying to get hold of Kershaw.
Kershaw, a strong returner of the ball, and gets the pass to Senior. Wakefield have to go back to August the 29th, 2022 for that last Super League win. That was that victory at Saints. It's a long wait between victory songs for this Wakefield Trinity side, and it's going to continue by the look of things. Reece Lynn has picked up a knock. It's Morgan Smith. Here's Jay Pitts now. Pitts, Mason Lino, Samisoni Langi. Faraimo makes the tackle. It went forward, says the referee, and again Castleford players celebrate and they salute the effort of Beretta Faraimo.
Well, how many times have we seen that in this game? The edge defender, very aggressive, like you said, works really, really hard, both sides of the ball. Comes in, slams Langi to the ground, loses the ball. And that's a big part of his game. Faraimo, been physical, been demanding. And Langi felt the full weight of that tackle from Faraimo.
10 seconds. It's on me, let's get in.
Fifth game in charge for the Castleford Tigers coach, or interim coach, Andy Last, and on course for his second win this evening. Castleford's second win of the season, which will cast Wakefield more adrift at the bottom of the table, and Wakefield with a tricky road ahead. They've got Lee Leopards at home next, and Lee demonstrating they are not going to be pushovers this season. Then they're away to Wigan, and I think next up after that it's Warrington.
That's a massive 3 games for them, isn't it? Huge, huge 3 games for them. Like on the back of playing this game, emotionally, are they going to be drained?
Castleford with Salford away next. Hull KR are the visitors after that, and then they travel to Lee. Here is Jacob Miller. That's the 5th tackle. And a little grubber kick sits up nicely for Kershaw, but nowhere for him to go.
Big defensive players there again. It's Jacob Miller flying out the line up against his former side.
Release. 2, go.
It's Reece Lynn playing the ball. And they're going to have to do something from deep here now. Here's Samisoni Langi, but that combination there again for Faraimo and Mahe Fanua.
Well, he just hits hard and clamps hold of the ball, and Langi there's not a chance he's going to get the offload away.
Yeah, Mahe Fanua hasn't scored a try in the last 14 games for Castleford, but he's made some tackles and stopped some probably. It's more good defensive work.
Jordan Turner and Paul McShane and Hewitt.
On the last, Pitts, Mason Lino, Lino running it. Here's Ashurst. Ashurst to Samisoni Langi. Langi manages to keep it alive. They're doing well here. Is Liam Hood spins, gets it to Lino. Lino, short ball. Whitbread rides the challenge and loses the ball at the last, and it's a penalty for the high shot.
Yes, it is. Good strong carries. An off-the-cuff play from Wakefield. And like you said, they've got nothing to lose, Bill. Scoreboards against them, clocks against them.
I'll tell you what, referee Marcus Griffiths has had a very calm game in the middle of this stormy rivalry. It's always been under control, probably tempting fate here, but...
Well, you always say a ref's had a good game when you've not really mentioned him, and I agree with you.
Just have. Here's Renew for Tony. Wakefield, can they strike in the closing minutes here? Is there still a chance for them? Here is Dagger. Head strapped after that knock. Here is Samisoni Langi, but a good thumping challenge on him. Here's Mason Lino. Lino, a little skip. What? Jay Whitbread, he's driving the ball in. Kenny Edwards is driving him back. Hood. Here is Mason Lino again. Dagger, Ashurst. Ashurst short ball to Samisoni Langi, but good defence from Fanua and Faraimo. So here's Dagger. Here is Mason Lino. But Castleford holding their shape as he goes across the field and almost finds a way through. Westerman clinging onto his collar to deny him the opportunity. 4 tackles gone into the last couple of minutes now. Pitts, on it comes to Dagger, and the ball is batted down by Mahe Fanua. Wakefield will get the ball back.
You know, outstanding defence from Castleford, preventing Wakefield in desperation from getting over the line. Mahe Fanua will be happy to concede that. Just doesn't want the ball to go out wide. He's done a decent job over on the right-hand side, Mahe Fanua and Beretta Faraimo. Very physical. Because you know that Mason Lino normally gets hold of the ball. He's attacking that side all the time, so they've been very busy in the game.
So, closing minutes of this contest. Is there a last defiant response from this Wakefield side? Not if Castleford Tigers have got anything to do with it. At least Wakefield have got on the scoreboard this evening. But just the one try for them. That one try in this second half for them, scored by Samisoni Langi. Here's a Tony. Hood. Short ball finds Whitbread, and Whitbread is wrapped up. Held up, and good defensive end to this game from the Castleford Tigers to keep their line secure, to deny Wakefield a glimmer of a hope of getting back into this game. Coming up to the last 60 seconds, Pitts. Here is Mason Lino. Lino has tried everything he knows, and he's tried the ball over the top. Oh, the ball over the top. And what about that from Jacob Miller? Just as it looked as though Kershaw was going to score, Miller comes in and denies him with a thumping tackle.
And they're good signs. The game's finished. Even if Kershaw gets this try, like, they still win the game. That's pride in your line. Jacob Miller hits him with everything, prevents him from getting the ball down. And look at the way they celebrate again. You love seeing players celebrate defensive efforts, defensive wins. Sometimes the players look at games and think, right, it's all about attack, or fans look at games and think it's all about attack. No, defensive players like that are just as good. Worth 6 points for Cass.
But good signs for Wakefield as well in this game. Haven't been blown up. They've lost again.
But for 80 minutes they've performed. They've not performed week in, week out like they did against Salford, unless the last game was like against Salford. 2 games now they've performed for the full 80.
But they're 4 points adrift. Yeah. They're 4 points adrift at the bottom of the table. In this rivals round, the first game of 7. We're showing you on Sky Sports. The honours have gone to the Castleford Tigers, the home team, up against Wakefield Trinity, bottom of the table, a side desperate to get off the mark, but their losing run goes on. Castleford Tigers pick up their second victory of the season. And at times they've had to dig deep with a big defensive effort, especially in this second half when Wakefield were looking to get back in the game. And Castleford Tigers held firm despite that Samisoni Langi try, which gave Wakefield a glimmer of hope. But it's Castleford who take the points and Wakefield who have to take another blow. 16-4 the final score.